Welcome, my friends. Welcome to another aimless adventure coming to you from a chilly Senoia, Georgia today. We're here at Nick and Norman's to watch the next to the last episode of The Walking Dead. I'm here with Stephen Sweet of Water Tower Tours, which you need to know about. So, Stephen, how can people find you?
So yeah, my name's Stephen, like Chris said here. I'm from Water Tower Tours. The best way to find us, you can go to watertowertours.com. You can find us on Facebook at Water Tower Tours, Instagram, Water Tower Tours. We also have a YouTube channel, Flip It Up with the Sweets. So be sure to go over there and subscribe after you subscribe to Aimless, of course.
That's
you should
right.
have been talking into the microphone.
I should have, because Donka Shane, you don't want to hear this. Hey, I think it's time we explore more.
Let's hit it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, I've been doing tours for about 7 years now. I started out with Atlanta Movie Tours. They had to go under because of the pandemic. And so we kind of started this on our own, the Water Tower Tours. And I worked media for a little website that was an official website of AMC. I did that for about 5 years. And that gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of the cast members, interview them, stuff like that, go to different conventions, different special events. Well, I bugged them so much, the ones I got to know a little bit, like Greg Nicotero, I bugged them so much they finally let me get on the show. So I was initially supposed to be a walker because I'm so tall and skinny, but when I got down there at the last minute, they needed a savior, somebody that was tall to be a savior. So they picked me, and so I'm a savior in season 7. If you watch season 7, any scene that takes place at the sanctuary, you can kind of play Where's Waldo and look for me. Now, you do see me up close in some shots, like when they throw the doctor in the furnace. You see me up close in that one, kind of reacting to it. But I'm not going to lie, in a lot of them, it's the back of my head or me out of focus. But I'm such a big fan of the show, that's why I got into all this, because I'm a huge fan. I'm such a big fan. Now, it does kind of have some Walking Dead ties. The Riggs family, Chandler Riggs, who plays Carl, they bought him that little house, the church house. So now, one of our first spots is one of my favorite spots because it shows how smart AMC is with their filming locations. Of course, you got Alexandria there off to the right, and we're going to get a closer look at that here in a second. This building here to the left, though, so this building, each side looks different than the other. So AMC has used this, I'm trying to think, at least 4 different times for different locations all throughout the seasons. They'll just show you one side of it so you don't see that, hey, that's the same building that I saw 3 seasons ago. It looks totally different on each side. This was the governor, I call it the governor's torture building in Woodbury. Got a little shot there. That's also where Milton had his laboratory. Where he was doing the experiments on the guy that was about to pass away to see if he could stop the infection or slow it down. Remember that when he was doing the experiments? He has a laboratory set up there. That's where they held Maggie and Glenn hostage. That's where Andrea died in the barber chair. One of my favorite scenes. I do. It would have been King Ezekiel's veterinary clinic on the inside. So that's 3 different spots already. And then I'll show you the 4th once we go along the gates were. I know some of you have been here before, so you probably know. JSS wall. This is from the episode JSS, which told Phoenix's backstory. Her and her family were parked pretty much right behind the Outpost 22. Right where that car stopped, where they're not supposed to be stopped. Not a stop sign. That's where you would have had the main wall and the main gate to Woodbury. And I'm gonna bring this picture around for y'all. So you can see the building behind us. This was taken from across the street, underneath that awning over there. It would have went right across that crosswalk. Yeah, so the house right here on the left, this whole little corner is one of my favorites. Fried green tomatoes. It was the Threadgood house. Used to be white back then. It's there on the bottom. We'll do this shot right here. Now the bridge looks a lot different because it's been updated over the years. Now from The Walking Dead, after the prison, when everybody was split up, that's going to be the two scenes that we're talking about here. The first one is with Carol, Tyrese, Judith, Lizzie, and Mika. They were headed to the Grove. So just look at the flowers there. So they passed right up under that bridge and saw one of the first terminus. With the map determinus. Now, I've been trying to talk them into putting a sign down there to compare it, but the thing is, stuff around here disappears after dark because the whole town shuts down. So stuff disappears like crazy. What's neat though, is that was filmed right here at this bridge. So what they did is they used a mix of practical and CGI. So the tunnel itself, they built a fake little tunnel down there using styrofoam. So it looks like concrete. It's actually styrofoam. And then they had a black curtain hanging in the opening there. If you went through that black curtain, it just led to a tarp. It didn't go anywhere else. Now, I added the CGI. And what they would do is they would film them all the way till they got right there to the opening, kind of like in the picture. And they finished out the scene there at the studio on the set where they had built, the inside where it all caved in. They do that quite a bit now. There's going to be a couple other spots I show you like that. They really started to do it a lot when they had bought the studio. AMC did end up buying the studio. They were leasing it year-round anyway there for a long time, so it was probably cheaper to buy it, and they can always sell it in the future and, get their money back. Possibly more, probably more. So, like, if you bought a house in there, you agreed, that you knew that they were going to use it for filming for stuff. Now, they didn't expect that The Walking Dead would move in and be there for 8 years and build these walls around their house. But they did build some, and they built some, the 3 that I know of, they didn't finish the insides. Like, they were unfinished, but they had all the stuff you're talking about. And then when the wall came down, they went through and finished the interiors, and now they're for sale.
So are there any homes back here that were used in the show? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll show you the hot spot. So these first 2 houses we're going to come to on the left, they've always had residents. So as of right now, from what I've been told, this little community is still under contract from AMC, by AMC, until January 1st, 2023. So, in like a couple months, you'll be able to go down these side streets. As of right now, you're not technically allowed to go down the side streets.
Down here?
Right. The only road that you're able to go down is this main road, Morgan Street. No relation to Morgan Jones or Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Daryl's shooting the rocket launcher off into the pond. Caught it on fire there, yeah. And you can kind of line it up. You can see this tin roof. That tin roof is going to be the second tin roof there off to the right. So the one closest to that house down there. See what I'm saying? You've got the one tin roof right there, then the one right beside it. So he was kind of in between the two. Probably one of the most memorable scenes shot at the gazebo that I can think of is when Reggie, who was Deanna's husband, they were running Alexandria for Rick and the gang got here. Well, Deanna mostly was. Reggie was just kind of there. But he was showing Noah how to do the architecture, like blueprints and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He was trying to teach him how to, like, draw the blueprints and, stuff about architecture. They would have their little sessions there in the gazebo. The house on the very end, that would have been Rick's house in the shot. So here's a shot when they're picking out their houses with Aaron. You've got Rick and Carl and Aaron there. You can see Rick's house right here. Now the house in the middle, Carol would have moved into that house. So we call that one Carol's house, the house right in the middle there. Yeah, and the house on the corner, this would have been Jesse and Pete's house. Remember Jesse and Pete? That's that lady that Rick kind of dated for a little while.
The blonde-haired lady.
Yeah.
The haircut lady getting a haircut.
Yeah.
Whose son kept saying mom, and ended up getting them all pretty much ixnayed and kind of in the middle of the road, and we gutted Spencer. And then right pretty much kind of in the middle of this little four-way, You had the scene where Rick kind of lost his stuff. Remember the scene?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see behind him the houses that are behind us right
Excellent.
that some of the locals embrace it like that.
Well, the front is excellent.
Yeah. Also where Michonne found Rick and Carl. And that's the shot I've got here in the picture. She had already found Rick and Carl, her and Carl. Carl Papa video. You have to look it up, it's pretty funny. They made a whole song out of was white and said Smith on it. And AMC put that up there. And you did see it quite a bit in the episode. So his last name was Smith. The Sanctuary and Jadis's People's Junkyard. Those were all set pieces that they built on the studio prop. For example, for this scene, they would be right here. They put this set piece on top of it. So, you know, that wasn't concrete and metal. It was probably plastic or something lightweight, cheap, something they could move around really easy. They stuck that over the top of the hole. They would say action. Carl would climb inside of the hole. They would say cut. He would jump out, run off screen. They would say action and Sadiq would climb in. And then they would edit it all together in post-production to make it look like they went in one after the other. And then they would finish out the scenes kind of like that tunnel I was talking about, the tunnel at the bridge. They would finish out the scenes on a sound stage over at the studio where they had built a replica of the sewer system there. Because if there was, so this would have been where you had those Outpost 22 gates. This would have been the back gates right here. Would have ran right through here, but as you can see, they CGI that road out.
Yeah.
So you would have had the windmill down at the end. So from my understanding, now it's a little hard to see from right here because there's cars parked in front of it. You see where that Jeep is parked down there in front of the brownstones?
Little Jeep.
Yeah. So from my understanding, now I've got to research it more because it's so hard to tell because they all look the same. But from what I've been told, those are the windows down below there where Negan would have been in the cell. So there would have been lots of scenes of that stoop there. Now, kind of an interesting little backstory. Those townhomes were used way before this was Alexandria. If you remember, there was a scene where Michonne had like this fever dream where she was, where her pets were still alive. It was her boyfriend and his friend.
Yeah.
And then she pulled out the steak knife. Yeah, she still had the baby.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that, she pulls out a steak knife and it's her sword.
That's so
yeah. So that was actually
like this,
right.
like cleaning it.
That was actually shot in one of these townhomes. It would have been the second one from the left. Second one from the left, from what I've been told. So that was shot inside of one of these, but it was supposed to be downtown Atlanta, so they CGI'd downtown Atlanta into the window. But that's kind of, I think that's kind of interesting that you saw Alexandria, kind of, one of the buildings of Alexandria. Commonwealth, they weren't here back when they were filming for Woodbury. These are new buildings. Now, you're going to see these two balconies off to the right once we make this little turn. They'll be to the left to y'all in the back. These two balconies here. These are apartment buildings in the Commonwealth. So, the second balcony, I'm going to let these cars go by. The second balcony, that would be fake Stephanie's apartment.
Fake Stephanie.
Fake Stephanie. I can never remember the fake Stephanie's real name. They barely mention it. Say enough for me to actually register it, you know? So you would have had the balcony up there. Lots of scenes took place out there. The fake Stephanie would come out to greet Eugene when he was coming to visit. And then you would also see the door right outside of that balcony. That's where Eugene would come to ring himself in. So the door off to the left of this balcony that says 15 on it, that would have been the door Eugene used to come to all the time. He would look up and see Stephanie. Now the little alleyway in between the two buildings here, that's where Eugene was burning the missing signs that he had made for Stephanie once he found out that she wasn't the real Stephanie. And that walker that he's shooting, that's actually Greg Nicotero. Greg Nicotero does all the special effects in the walker stuff. So they told him, I guess that day, he had to get all walkered out. It was his.
Well, that was officially fantastic. Huge shout out to my friend Stephen Sweet of Water Tower Tours. I only gave you a small taste, y'all. There's a plethora of knowledge with the folks at Water Tower Tours. So next time you're in Senoia, hit them up. You can find them on the social medias and the interwebs. I'll put a link in the description. But now it's time to gather with friends at Nick and Norman's and watch The Walking Dead.
Show your waitresses, waiters, and bartenders some love and the trivia. So I'm going to need you to come up with a team name. We're running a little bit late tonight. So what you're going to do, those 2 sheets of paper that are at your tables, what I want you to do is come up with a team name. Come up with a team name. Come up with something clever because we're going to read those team names out loud. Come up with something clever, come up with something funny, and then again, you don't have to. You can use whatever team name that you want. Everybody give it up for Wins Good Eye.
Yeah. All right, y'all, we just won the trivia contest. Team name, Glenn's Good Eye.
Was that?
Uh-oh, there is a hat.
They got them all.
Somebody won a hat.
Look, no, we didn't all just want to hat. Look, we got all
What did we get? We got all this?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Hey, you.
Wins Good Eye. Everybody give it up for them.
That's a bottle of.
So,
You can open up your bottle of booze.
it'll be kicking off at 9, of course.
That was.
The way it works, they'll dim
That was
the
pretty
lights,
good.
they'll cut up the volume. You need to use the restroom.
We would do anything to protect each other. And we're fighting now for something else. Something bigger. In the beginning. But that comes with a cost.
Oh my God.
There's always a cost. I never got to know my mom, Lori. My brother Carl dreamed of a day when we'd all live together in peace. My mom, Michonne, tried to hang up her sword. My dad, Rick, was searching for mercy. And me? Well, I guess I'm a Grimes too. But we didn't know when we started this that this would be the day everything changed forever.
That's going to do it from this one from Senoia, Georgia. Nick and Norman's The Walking Dead next to last episode viewing party. Man, what a day. Full day. Water Tower Tours with Stephen Sweet. Check them out. Show them some love. They are awesome. And of course, the good folks at Nick and Norman's, thank you for your hospitality. Jimmy from Walking Dead and the Dead Truth podcast, as well as the Georgia Tour Company. Hit him up for some awesome tours as well. That's going to do it from this one from Senoia, Georgia. Until next time, fight the dead, fear the living, and adventure on.